A huge crowd on hand in Clear Lake for the 2012 induction of the Men's Fast Pitch Hall of Fame, including Sonny Kalishek of Prodovan and other teams throughout his career, going in with Floyd Hasselbaker, an umpire, John Munch, an infielder, Dean Whitebreast, the catcher, Pete Sandman, another pitcher, and Roger Ruse, an infielder. Record crowd on hand, nearly 50 there for Sonny alone. And from the ASA, Doug Linneman talks about the record crowd.
Testament to all of the Hall of Famers that are going in today. This is by far the largest group of people we've had at one of these Hall of Fame inductions, and it's just terrific for everyone to be here. So give yourselves a hand.
Hall of Fame pitcher Jim Sovereign made the trip from Cresco to be there for Sonny and the other inductees. And hey, that looks like Denny Linderbaum. We'll be hearing more from Denny here in just a little bit. Leroy Wegman, the president of the Hall of Fame, is the MC, and he had this to say about Sonny.
No doubt in my mind that Sonny had fell through the cracks. He should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. But with that, Sonny, and with the great crowd that you have here, I welcome you into the Iowa Men's Fast Pitch Hall.
Sonny, of course, best known for playing for Prodovan, but Kerry Bergman of Frederica had a nice presentation for him.
Thanks, Sonny. Sonny played a few years at the end of his career with us, and we certainly recognize that his greatest years were with Prodovan, but he's a great teammate and friend in his years when he played for Frederica. So we just want to thank you and congratulate you.
One of the real leaders of the Hall of Fame, Hall of Famer himself, Denny Linderbaum, grew up around Ridgeway, went to school in Cresco, a great pitcher, Hall of Famer, and in one game, he lost to Prodovan when he gave up two-run home runs to Sonny. He talks about it.
Yes, he did hit 2 home runs off me in one game. I know there are a lot of others who claim that. I think he's the only one. I've forgiven you for that about last week. At any rate, the first time that I was with Jim Sovereign's team, and Jim is here. Jim was an inspiration to me, along with people like Sonny, back when I was much younger. But the first time I saw Sonny down in Prodovan, you may have seen him walk up here. He kind of walks like this. Kind of saunters onto the mound, and I'm thinking, who's this guy? And well, that's Sonny Kalishek. Was he any good? And I saw him throw the ball, and he had a very short windup. Didn't drive off the mound very hard. It was all here. He threw it hard. He threw it hard. And when I talked to Sonny after he was inducted in the Hall of Fame, we were talking about old times, and this was I first met you in 1973 or 74 probably. And so I said, Sonny, you really were great. I really enjoyed watching you pitch, and he said, well, that was towards the end of the career. You should have seen me before I hurt my arm. And wow. And reading his resume when he won the European Championship, because he was really, really good. He had a great rise ball, a great drop ball, good location, and he could hit. He could hit the ball. And what I remember most about Prodovan was Sonny Kalishek was like a softball god there. Every time I came back there, that's right. Sonny and his brother Gary, sadly gone now. The nicest people in the world in Prodovan, Iowa. Many of you are here. You probably drank beer with me.
Never in Prodovan.
I think they've got beer in Prodovan, yes. But the thing I remember most about Prodovan and Sonny, the people, the teammates that you had were wonderful individuals, and they loved softball. After the games, we'd have bratwurst, had some beers, etc. And I always loved coming back to Prodovan. But it was always a pleasure play against you, with you a few times. And I am proud as heck to have you in the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Anyway, I'm certainly going to be forever grateful to the committee. And then Randy and Ron Novotny got this started along with Billy Joe Carrasco, who's the athletic director who was for many years at Upper Iowa. And they got started, well, I made it, and I'm very proud and humbled that I got it. I really kind of didn't expect it, but the reason I got in probably was I had a high winning percentage. I had a high winning percentage because I played with a lot of really good players. That's why every place I played, there were good players, and fortunate enough to get that. So.
Sonny went on and said everybody wants to talk about the great games that he played, pitching or hitting or what have you, but he did say there were some bad ones.
There was bad ones. I'll mention a couple of them. I remember we got to I think this was maybe before the semifinals where 4 would have been left, 4 teams in lacrosse. And we were meeting Peter's Backers, who was the Wisconsin state champion. They had Bob Moore pitching that day. Well, it was one of those games where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I walked off the mound at the end of the first inning holding him to 8 runs. They had 2 runs off me, and then, to be honest, everything that was hit in the park wasn't fielded or got thrown away. I mean, and we had very good players, but it was one of those days. So after that first inning, I was next. It was maybe. Well, I was sitting on the end of the bench anyway. We were batting nobody within 10 feet of me. And my head down, and sure to show me, I could tell our manager come walking to me. I didn't look up, and I knew by his walk it was him. And he'd always ask me when he wanted to change something. He'd say, "What do you think? What do you?" He said, "Sonny, do you think we should put Bernie Carrion in?" He was the other pitcher. He said, "You know, we got a lot of young players out here, and our infielders, I'm kind of concerned about their health."
Sonny went on and talked about a guy from Cresco that hit him pretty good.
Joe Halber, Jim Sovereign, remember him. He was a tall, gangly guy, and he just got out of the field, and he told one of his players, "Get out, I got to throw a few," you know. Just he was a farmer back then. And, well, he just owned me. I think he had about 600 off me. He didn't look like he was a ball player, but about the 6th inning, I suppose the score was probably 10-7 or something. Billy Joe was our catcher. He come out to the mound and he says, I could see he was going to say something smart. I said, what are you trying to throw him? He said, "I don't know. I haven't caught one yet."
Well, as you can see, Sonny may have stopped entertaining on the softball field, but he's still entertaining out there. Could always become a comedian, Sonny. Never too late for that. But Sonny Kalishek in the Hall of Fame, inducted in 2012. I'm Randy Novotny reporting.